Hello everyone. Welcome to UPSC Explainer 101. Today, we'll explore Pastoralists in the Modern World from Class 9 NCERT History Chapter 5. Let's dive in. What is pastoralism, and how is it distinct from other forms of livelihood? Answer. Pastoralism refers to the practice of rearing livestock, primarily in regions where agriculture is challenging due to unsuitable terrain or climate. It's distinct from agriculture as it often involves the movement of people and livestock over large areas in search of pasture. Unlike settled farming, pastoralists are often nomadic or semi-nomadic, adapting to seasonal changes and resource availability. Describe the types of pastoralist communities mentioned in the chapter and their characteristics. Answer. Nomadic pastoralism, communities that move constantly, seeking pastures for their livestock. They do not have a permanent settlement. Transhumant pastoralism, semi-nomadic communities that move seasonally but have fixed settlements where part of the community resides. Characteristics: close relationship with nature and a deep understanding of their environment. Livestock is central to their socio-economic and cultural life. Adaptation to challenging terrains and climates. How have colonial and modern states impacted pastoralist practices and lifestyles? Answer. The colonial state introduced new laws, restricting the movement of pastoralist communities. This was done to exert control and facilitate resource extraction. Modern boundaries and national borders further hindered the free movement of pastoralist communities. Developmental projects, such as dams and infrastructure, reduced grazing lands. Introduction of formal education and healthcare altered traditional lifestyles and values. What are the challenges faced by pastoralist communities in the contemporary world? Answer. Loss of traditional grazing lands due to urbanization and industrialization. Climate change affecting the availability of pastures. Economic challenges due to market fluctuations and commercialized agriculture. Social challenges, including the stigma and misconceptions surrounding their way of life. How have pastoralist communities adapted and resisted the changes brought about by external forces? Answer. Formation of collective groups and organizations to advocate for their rights. Diversification of income sources, such as engaging in trade or handicrafts. Integration of modern technology, like mobile phones, to stay connected and access market information. Holding on to cultural practices and traditions to maintain community identity. What is the significance of pastoralism in the context of sustainable development and biodiversity? Answer. Pastoralism promotes the sustainable use of land resources, especially in regions unsuitable for agriculture. The traditional knowledge of pastoralists can offer insights into sustainable land and water management. Livestock diversity in pastoralist communities contributes to biodiversity and resilience against diseases. Pastoralist practices can be seen as a model for low-impact and sustainable livelihoods in challenging environments. Examine the socio-cultural significance of pastoralist communities in preserving indigenous knowledge and traditions. Answer. Pastoralist communities have a rich heritage of oral traditions, folklore, and customs that offer insights into historical and environmental narratives. Their close relationship with nature has fostered indigenous knowledge about local flora, fauna, and sustainable resource management. Rituals, festivals, and traditional practices play a crucial role in community bonding and maintaining cultural continuity amidst external changes. Their unique art forms, music, and dance are vital components of cultural diversity. Discuss the role of pastoralism in the global food chain and its contribution to food security. Answer. Pastoralist communities contribute to the food chain by producing meat, milk, and other dairy products, often in regions where agriculture is not viable. Their mobile livestock management ensures efficient use of sparse resources, leading to sustainable production. In many arid and semi-arid regions, pastoralism is the primary source of livelihood, ensuring food security for local populations. Their resilience to climatic variations makes them crucial players in addressing challenges of food production under changing environmental conditions. Analyze the impact of globalization on pastoralist communities. Answer. Globalization has opened markets, exposing pastoralists to wider economic opportunities but also to market vulnerabilities. Introduction of modern goods and technology has influenced their lifestyle, sometimes at the cost of traditional practices. Global discourses on conservation and development have both supported and threatened their access to resources. Cultural exchange has increased awareness about their plight, leading to global solidarity movements. How do land rights and land use policies affect pastoralist communities? Illustrate with examples. Answer. Land rights are crucial for pastoralists as access to pastures determines their livelihood. Land acquisition for developmental projects, mining, or agriculture often displaces pastoralist communities. Protected areas, like national parks, restrict their movement, leading to conflicts between conservation goals and pastoralist rights. Example, the Maasai community in East Africa faced eviction from their ancestral lands due to the creation of national parks and conservancies. Elucidate the interrelationship between climate change and pastoralism. Answer. Climate change impacts the availability and quality of pastures, affecting livestock health and productivity. Alteration in rainfall patterns can lead to droughts or floods, challenging the traditional movement patterns of pastoralists. Pastoralists, with their deep understanding of local ecologies, can offer insights into climate adaptation strategies. Conversely, sustainable pastoralist practices can play a role in climate mitigation by promoting biodiversity and soil carbon sequestration. Prelims MCQs. Which pastoral community in India resides in the mountains of Jammu and Kashmir during summers and in the plains during winters? A. Maasai. B. Bakarwals. C. Borams. D. Gujjars. Answer. B. Bakarwals. What was a significant challenge faced by pastoralists in colonial Africa due to imposed boundaries? A. Limitation on movement. B. Restrictions on hunting. C. Taxation on livestock. D. Forceful settlement. Answer. A limitation on movement. Which term refers to the seasonal movement of pastoralists with their livestock between fixed summer and winter pastures? A. Migration. B. Transhumance. C. Nomadism. D. Rotation. Answer. B. Transhumance. How did colonial governments view pastoralists? A. As noble savages. B. As a nuisance. C. As valuable allies. D. As traders. Answer. B. As a nuisance. In which region did the Maasai community predominantly reside? A. Eastern India. B. Western China. C. Northern Europe. D. East Africa. Answer. D. East Africa. Which pastoral community in Africa faced challenges due to the imposition of new grazing rules? A. Gujjars. B. Borams. C. Bakarwals. D. Maasai. Answer. B. Borams. Which group was particularly affected by the criminalization of their traditional hunting practices? A. Borams. B. Maasai. C. Gujjars. D. Bakarwals. Answer. B. Maasai. Which term refers to the seasonal movement of pastoralists with their livestock between fixed summer and winter pastures? A. Migration. B. Transhumance. C. Nomadism. D. Rotation. Answer. B. Transhumance. What term is used to describe communities that move from one place to another, rather than settling permanently in one location? A. Settlers. B. Transhumans. C. Nomads. D. Migrants. Answer. C. Nomads. Which term refers to a policy implemented by colonial governments that restricted the movement of pastoralists? A. Transhumance. B. Nomadism. C. Criminalization. D. Closed grazing. Answer. D. Closed grazing. Which policy refers to the imposition of boundaries that did not allow African pastoralists to move in search of pastures? A. Migration policy. B. Transhumance rule. C. Closed border policy. D. Restricted grazing. Answer. C. Closed border policy. Which region in Africa was notably affected by colonial boundaries that restricted the movement of pastoralists? A. Sahara Desert. B. Maasai region. C. Nile Delta. D. Serengeti Plains. Answer. B. Maasai region. Which colonial power implemented policies that adversely affected the pastoralists in Africa? A. British. B. French. C. Portuguese. D. Dutch. Answer. A. British. In which region were pastoralists known to practice transhumance? A. Sahara Desert. B. Maasai region. C. Gujjar Bakarwals region. D. Nile Delta. Answer. C. Gujjar Bakarwals region. Which community in India is known for its pastoralist practices and moves between the plains of the Jammu region and the hills of the Ladakh region? A. Kutchi herders. B. Maasai tribes. C. Gujjar Bakarwals. D. Toda tribes. Answer. See Gujjar Bakarwals. Which factor primarily motivated colonial powers to regulate and restrict the movement of pastoralists? A. Desire to promote agriculture. B. To control the spread of diseases. C. Economic benefits from pastoralist products. D. Attempt to establish clear territorial boundaries. Answer: D. Attempt to establish clear territorial boundaries. Pastoralist adaptation to nature and their ability to live in different terrains primarily indicates A. Their resistance to colonial policies. B. Their deep understanding of ecological balance. C. Their ability to trade and barter. D. Their nomadic nature out of choice. Answer: B. Their deep understanding of ecological balance. The decline in pastoralism in the modern period can be attributed to A. Advent of modern transportation. B. Changes in dietary habits of people. C. Implementation of restrictive policies by colonial and post-colonial governments. D. Lack of interest in pastoralist practices by the younger generation. Answer: C. Implementation of restrictive policies by colonial and post-colonial governments. Why did colonial governments see pastoralists as a threat? A. Pastoralists had superior military skills. B. Pastoralists' movement made it hard to control and administer regions. C. Pastoralists often engaged in open revolts. D. Pastoralists were economically more prosperous than settled communities. Answer: B. Pastoralists' movement made it hard to control and administer regions. The practice of transhumance by the Gujjar Bakarwals indicates A. A seasonal migration pattern. B. Movement due to political conflicts. C. A shift from pastoralism to agriculture. D. An influence of foreign trading practices. Answer: A. A seasonal migration pattern. Thanks for watching.